Hello, everyone. How are you? It's all good, huh? So, if you're new, right, got to do these intros. There's some protocol that just makes sense. This channel is about the solution, right? And we can't find it, the solution, if our bodies are not functioning properly. So, right, that's what self-care is. Make sure your body's good, right? And Qigong is the most effective, right, method to bathe your body in its own energy, right, that is constantly replenished through its connection to source, right? So we have an unlimited amount of power available to us, right? It just can't have it all at once. And this power is exhibited through our bodies. But getting off the intro is that there is an intent, right, to the content, and it's to recognize that we can recognize the proper path, right? That's not really it. What I'm just saying is somebody's got to motherfucking talk about it. I'm here talking about it. But if you do this meditation with me first, then it kind of opens up space to receive, right? So we stand in the Qigong horse stance, right? You know, people think horse stance is like this, but it's not. I mean, it can be, it's extreme, but it's just shoulder width, right, for your feet. And then you bend your knees, turn your hips under by pressing your lumbar out, not by flexing your glutes, right? You're trying to straighten the spine. So then you push this forward, drop your chin. Visualize a string, right? A conduit attached that is like you're hanging from, right? And then arm position. I'm not exactly lined up, but it's in front of the navel, symmetrical bow shape with the arms. And then 3 breaths. Turn your hands out, 3 more breaths. reset the position in front of your heart. It should look symmetrical to you as much as possible. You know, I have an injured elbow, so my range of motion is impeded. Upper position, still the bow shaped, but it's like more of an exalted position, right? You know, ah, and remember your spine, right? Try to straighten it. Drop the chin. And lift up on the out breath. Drop the shoulders without pressing. Flat scapula. Also hurt shoulder, like got bad. So yeah, again, right, for those of you, like, just click on the lives. That's what I'm mainly doing now, right? And it's to narrow in on the actual what, right? The what. The how is unavailable to us, right? But once you know what is required, then you know what you can do, right? What action to take, um, based on, a rational analysis also, but like on feeling. Because when I say open the space for the new, right? Open the space to receive, right? This is unprecedented, as far as, the general, you know, the normies are concerned, which is probably the biggest obstacle, which is why I talk about this stuff, because it allows you to use words to hone in on what it is, right? And what is it? It's well, it becomes a whole cascading thing, right? It is just one thing. But once we operate with that, right, as for our decision making process in relationship, so it all comes down to how we relate to each other, and that's on the whole, the way we relate. There is a on aggregate everyone doing it together, right? There's a pattern that that is exhibited. Right? And so that is like each of us, because we have this singular location and a conscious awareness, right? Are the ones who make the difference, right? But it's all of us acting together that makes the civilization, the pattern of civilization. So, what is it? It is that particular set of instructions, right, that each individual has when they're relating to others, right? And so the decision making process is based on those initial assumptions, right, that everyone is carrying. So the what is that consensus belief that permits us to operate on average, not everyone, right, obviously, but on average, right, if the majority is doing it, then that's what it is, for the most part. That's the pattern that is exhibited because everyone else has to adjust in order to work in that framework, right, inside that framework. And, it's an obvious polar relationship right there at the core of this is what I call the root problem. The root problem. So the what, right, is first that psychological readjustment, the psychological transformation that permits interaction and relationship to operate from a service mindset, as opposed to a selfish one. And so this has been hatched over many times. And so when you use those particular words, right, then everyone thinks they know what you're talking about, right? And so those words have this pigeonholing or this like the ball rolls into the pocket kind of thing, And I would remind the listener that these words are what we have to describe what it is, because the scarcity model of value is promotes a selfish mode of operation, right? An adversarial mode of operation, that it's all of us against each other, and that society is somehow a a social Darwinistic landscape, right, where the top, the cream floats to the top or whatever, right? And then those are the decision makers. Well, I don't want to get into all of that shit, but the point is that stratification is created from the scarcity mindset, right? Because the motivation is all about guarantee of your personal status, right? Your level in the hierarchy. And yeah, so it's a competitive mindset, and this is what we've been discussing. So what is it, right? What is the psychological transformation that permits a different pattern to emerge, right? That where the hierarchy, right, is based on you have to talk about it as level of education, right? And so you can see how what we have has what is required, right? Which is this information downloads, right, that you get from the collective knowledge, right? which is like your education, like going to school. This is supposedly the collected knowledge of humanity, right? And then you learn certain aspects of it in the general education, and then you specialize, right? And you go into the workforce. But that's it right there, is that's how humans survive, right? So this is what I've always been talking about, is that we all are born with a particular set of gifts, and flaws or handicaps, but all of us have something to offer, right? And that's how we survive. We exchange those offerings with each other. And so that is like what we have, but also needs to be preserved, or, if we're going to make any transition to a better system, right? So that's the what, right? So if we can make this psychological transformation, then we can create a new organization, right? That operates on, a service mindset, right? Which is it's not communism, right? It's just makes sense that if everyone is, not this equal opportunity, right? But that's what it is that is everyone is allowed to exercise their gifts, right? And then educated in a way in which that their education actually is the output, right? It's not a pre thing that you do. It's like you go towards what makes you feel good, right? What kind of value you want to bring for others, right? That thing that you want to do, right? That other people will value, so that you can exchange it, right? And so a new organization requires this mentality that it actually works better, right? It's actually more effective, right? To have the when it's actually more effective as far as your output, right? Your collected output, because there's a lot of general stuff, right, that we agree is necessary, right? That needs to be maintained and also upgraded, right? Infrastructure, right? So, yeah, if you listen to the podcast from the beginning, it begins with what technology does to our interactions, our relationships, right, on aggregate, and how it changes society. But our thinking always lags behind to the last generation. And so the impact of new radical innovation and technology, right, this should be review, is destructive, because the thinking can't adapt to the message of the technology, which is always more integrative, which what technology does, right, in each iteration, right, is actually increase the interdependency of us, right? It makes us into an organism that in which we all require each other that much more, despite that being our nature anyway, which is, being social creatures. So just that right there says, look, the thing, the design of our greater structure of the crystal lattice of humanity, right? The social structure of it, right? Why can't we design that? Why can't we design that to work the best, right? instead of making it about it being this internal fucking savannah where you fight for your life, against others to rise to the top. You know, that's everyone says it. It's fucking old news, right? That's basically slavery, right? It's like that's how they keep us in bondage. Is turn it into a fucking reality TV show where we're all scrambling to be the number one. It's fucking retarded, man. So the likelihood that we can actually create better systems, product systems that everyone needs, like we need it at this point, right? Because we're linked to our technology. Right? The survival off the land shit is silly. I always say it because, dude, um, who's gonna make your steel for you? So I'll make a forge. It's like, so everyone is rolling with their own forge. Like, that's fucking stupid, right? You're gonna need to interact and relate to the larger population out there that has fucking the means of production, right? Again, right? So, yeah, there's this fucking importance on the way, the pattern in which we operate. There's an important aspect to it because the one we're using, right, and this is also part of the psychological operation, is that there's this threat of doom constantly, and that threat is actually what permits them to make an offer for a solution, right? It's the Hegelian dialect or the problem action solution. They're just creating the problem in order to offer the solution, right? And then when we sign up for it, it's on us, right? Then we take the damage. And so why not design it right so it works? And so the likelihood that we could come up with good product systems that are in alignment, right, that make sense, yeah, based on our collected knowledge, and also like this idea of service, right? And so I keep leading into it, the likelihood that we come up with these sub solutions, right, based on our technical knowledge, that work, right, is way higher when everyone gets to participate, right? And instead of it being this funnel, of the education system that pops out one or two individuals, right, in every fucking discipline, and those are the ones who are deciding, right? These corporate heads, these corporations are designing our society for us, and they act like they're doing market research, right? Um, so anyway, right? So in order to create a new organization, the psychological transformation is required. So that new organization won't be corrupted with this old way of thinking. Right? So, right, that's our problem, is that we're still thinking with the industrial mindset, right? And meanwhile, we have extended our nervous system to cover the planet, right? Which is this electric network, right? With computers, right, are the nodes, right? And the lines of communication, wireless or wired, create the connections between the nodes, creating a fucking network, right? The structure of the crystal of society, right? So we can use that for good instead of using, still calling pages, right? Pages like it's a book that's an industrial product, So we use the tools that we have in a way that is congruent with our nature, which is to be creative, right? That's what we're all somehow here come to do, either to support the means of production or to offer some creative personal offering, right? or a mixture of the two, some kind of depth, right? Because the general, right, the engineering aspect is required too, right? We can actually design shit way better. We can, the Arabs on the peninsula there are designing these cities, like these futuristic cities that are designed to like deal with climate change and stuff, but no one's talking about how will those places be run if it's gonna be fucking hilarious, right? If with all of our technical knowledge we still just do the same thing again. So I got the what, I have the what, and it uses our combined knowledge of humanity for good. And when I say good, it's not fucking against anything. It's just promotion of living, right? And that's good. Because the more people that live, right, the more value gets added to the supply, right? It is an infinite supply, right? So permit it to fucking grow, right? Because that's where all the gold is. Instead of acting like there's only a limited supply for a massive demand, right? And so whoever owns the supply obviously gets to benefit from that quote natural fucking price hike. No one owns us, right? And value only comes from us, right? So that's slavery, right? That method of where the corporations own the means of production, right? Which is the sources of value, which are the things that, based on whatever level, right? Whether it's survival, right? Survival products, things that we need to fucking keep living, or because we're buffered from nature in a way that permits us to live our lives relatively safely. Then there's all these other levels of value that occur inside society that are, exhibited in the products that are created. So the means of production, right? It's that's almost everything, right? We're focusing our attention, like if we want to change something, right? We think we got to like step up to the table and participate in government, and that's government is the fucking it's just, I'm not going to have that discussion, but real fucking change is like our sources of value, what we value, right? And so we really take a look at what we're producing and how we're producing it. So that's the what, right? Is we create a we recognize certain products as essential and create a access point to, right, those products. And also with that access you become participant in the design, right? Not just how they look, right? Not some kind of emotive fucking thing. This is like what works fucking best, and everyone wants to see if they fucking can find out what works best. And the more people that try it, the likelier we are to find what works best. And we don't have to waste all this material in order to build the profits of corporations while they figure out how to design a fucking good product, right? And it comes from user feedback, right? Anyway, right, it's a deep and varied subject, and so it can seem, I might be confusing that I'm going off a little bit talking about products all of a sudden, but this is
what people are attracted to. Right? This is right. They're identified, right? And that's all this branding shit. And so everyone's identity is wrapped up in, their items. And so I'm not suggesting that, we can see that materialistic aspect as negative, right? As not the priority, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't need our materials, right, in order to fucking do the thing that is being human, right? So it's not an abandonment of our uh, material fucking nature, right? It's actually go all in on it because that's how we survive. So yeah, the what is a psychological transformation, and the what is a design of the way that we make stuff and how it is that and to permit, even though we have automation, this participation, right, in the production process, in the the maintenance of things that are necessary, right, first. Right, really going after the solution for things, right, for certain fucking problems that we seem to be having right now, and making it a non-issue because it's possible to do. I'm super optimistic because just like we can all some of us are really good at problem solving, some of us are really gifted at interacting with others, charisma and stuff. Everyone has something, something amazing, and the idea that it's a competition, right? It doesn't mean it doesn't lessen who you are to make sure everyone else is as good as they can be. And again, that's like a dangerous ground because it's already been hashed over, right? Like what it is that we have to do, right? What is the problem, right? And there's always this aspect of like, if it was easy, then fucking, how would you feel like you accomplished anything, right? And so, but I'm talking on the collective level, right? It's like, let's go after what everyone thinks is the hardest possible thing, right? Which is to correct this imbalance, right, that we have, right, in our culture, our world culture, because it is a worldwide thing now. We're all in this together, right? Another fucking catchphrase, right? That has been bastardized, but right, there's truth. Because why not design it like we have the ability? Why not make it work, right? And there's like that Jacques Fresco, right? Ideas and stuff, and I think it's some of those ideas are good, but I'm not sure that it's right the way he looks at it. But trying to wrap this up here. Yeah, so there's a way that we can, come at this and use everyone's fucking creative fucking ability to get at it, get at the right answers, for how, right? So, but the what is to begin with understanding that it's the exchange, right, of value, that how we live, and so we begin a new exchange, right, first, and that begins with recognizing the human network, right? The nodes, the people, right? And the lines that connect those nodes, the lines of communication, of energy and information, right, are the exchange, right? And so we just showed that it's already there, right? It's there. There's nothing to be done except to recognize it for what it is, right? That it's ours. There's no value without people fucking exchanging what they have to offer. So we begin, right, by not opening a new currency exchange, but opening a portal to visibility of the human network. Right? There it is, right there. And just that value alone, right? The capability of that. And I'm just saying it once. So you're going to have to back it up and listen to what I said. But that's everything right there. You begin with showing that the exchange is there, the true exchange, the sacred exchange of value between individuals in the collective. Right? It's already fucking right there. And so we only have to illuminate it, right? And then we begin, right, with the exchange of value. And so that's the what, and the how, right, is all you early adopters, right, who want to help me, right? But first we started and we're the first ones, right? And so if you help me figure out fucking how. But there's the what right there. And it builds from there, right? So that creative endeavor, right, that creating a source of value, right, that is so powerful that it attracts, right? And so it's gonna, you guys wanting to be creative, right, and recognizing that it is the exchange, right, that we need, right, that is ours, right, that there, no one gets to attach anything to it and take from it, right, with these different parasitic mechanisms, right, that are currently on our exchange. So it's just recognition that the exchange is people, right, and the connections between them, right. And so all we have to do is use, right, technology in a way that permits us all to see that. And to begin to pluck those strings, right, for possibilities and opportunities to create teams, right, but all operating with the recognition that it's not a breakaway civilization, right, because that's stupid, right. Everyone is permitted to join. That's the whole fucking purpose, right. And because anyone, right, the message of Ratatouille, the movie, right, that anyone from anywhere could have this golden contribution, right? And so we have to permit the possibility, right? Not everyone can be a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. Ratatouille. All right, you guys. Love and spread the word, because, right? I mean, come on. Who else is fucking doing it? Everyone else is trying to hit sub problems in our fucked up network, right? We just have to abandon it because the sacred network is already here, right? It's us. All right. Love.